said, well, it's close to 50 years ago. And they looked at me and they said, well, do you still remember anything? I said, sure, of course I do. Then I said, a scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent, which are the 12 rules. And their mouths, I mean, literally these kids with all of the electronics, their mouths dropped to the ground and they looked at me and said, hey, that guy was a scout, he still is. And I said, once a scout, always a scout. And the scoutmaster came up to me as I was leaving the group, and he said, that's the best lesson these kids ever got. Thank you so much, thank you so much. So when I came back home, I wrote a poem called Giving Back Like a Boy Scout. Let me share a little bit of that one with you. That's in my new book, by the way. And it's quite popular with people because they can relate to it, especially if they've ever been around a Boy Scout. So I'll share just a little bit. It says, I look back now at my newfound role as a sober member among all my friends. If they drink, it doesn't bother me. I'm apologizing, I've completed all of my amends. I realized too I was not alone in this venture to stop my drinking. It was a higher power and an AA crew that helped me to change my stinking thinking. So as I sobered up, I recalled my past as a Boy Scout in my small town, where my grandfather was an executive scout and made me toe the line and not fall down. The oath we took as a scout those days had 12 laws that we had to make. And to live by them, as we did back then, as an adult, I learned to fake. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, and helpful. He is friendly, courteous, and kind. He's obedient, cheerful, and thrifty, brave and clean, reverent all the time. Well, these laws defined my character, and now I'm sober. I want them back. And to have these lives I need to give to be charitable, to help at last. So let's talk about giving back and some things that you can do to share your purpose and your newfound love with others, not just for you. You can volunteer at a VA hospital to help the sick, the dying. You can drive them, hug them, and take care of them instead of your days of booze and lying. You can help a stranger who needs a hand or buy groceries and carry them home. You can pull some weeds or some grass at someone's house for an elder person who lives alone. You can volunteer as a community event. You can hand out tickets so that they can get in. You can help others pick up their trash and junk on the streets in the town that you are now in. You can volunteer for a youth group's cause, or you can take your sobriety story out loud. You can help a church raise some needed funds, and you can volunteer where it's allowed. There are 100 more things that you can do if you understand how important fact that being where you are from your addiction past is a gift that some will never get back. So then I went on and just shared the culture of how you can be trustworthy. I took them and paraphrased them like this: as you can be trustworthy for the things you do and say. You can be loyal to yourself. You can be helpful to the folks out there and be friendly with whom you help. You can be courteous to everyone you meet. You can be kind even if you disagree. You can be obedient to the time you have and be cheerful for all to see. You can be thrifty with your time each day and be brave as you tackle empty hours. You can stay clean and sober with every day and be reverent to your highest power. So I hadn't found that for a lot of my life as I transgressed with alcohol addiction and traveled. I mean, I had sexual addiction. I had lots of issues that I just piled up because I was fortunate enough, I was traveling everywhere and I was single and I just had this life that I thought was perfect. And all of my friends who socialized with me said, man, this guy's got a mate. He flies around the world. He meets all these people. He gets premium drinks, and they went on and on. But I was living a disease. I wasn't living a life. And getting back to thinking about being a Boy Scout really kind of puts it in perspective for me that those are all the characters that any human being would want, whether you've ever drank or you haven't drank. But to be able to go back and grab them into my life after I quit drinking was the ultimate power as a human being to be able to achieve that in your world.